Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You have to 3 o'clock, do you? Anybody?
About 2:59.
2:59.
Oh, we'll just sit here busy 1 minute then. Since we're just visiting, there's going to be a retirement party at 6:30 at the Butler Center tonight for Miss Juanita Manning. She has run the center out there for probably 15 years. Prior to that, she was a teacher, and she is retiring. So
And another thing, I'd like to say something before we get started. There's going to be a candlelight deal at the Veterans Park for Ryan Sawyer tonight at 8:30.
8:30.
Not sure hope everybody can come. Also pass that.
For those of you that might not know, he was killed in Afghanistan, and
8:30 tonight.
meeting will please come to order. We do have proof of posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. And we do have some members of the public, I believe, would like to speak. Each of you should have 5 minutes to address the court.
Thank you, Judge. And Commissioners, as you may know, my name is Elizabeth Grindstaff, and I'm the Stakeholder Manager for Texas Central Railway, covering the region from Vivero to Grimes County, along the proposed high-speed rail alignment. I'm here this afternoon simply to follow up with you on a letter sent to the judge on May 21st by Travis Kelly of Texas Central, offering to give the Commissioners Court a full, on-the-record briefing on the progress of the high-speed rail project. I'm pleased to say that the project continues to move forward, and we anticipate construction to begin as early as next year. As Travis said in his letter to the judge, we are eager to meet with you and other county officials to discuss the details of the master agreement, which will address Texas Central's assumptions of certain costs related to the construction of new or rerouted county roads, and maintenance plans, traffic controls during construction, and the county's review of Texas Central's approach to the design of certain civil infrastructure. We are currently in similar discussions with TxDOT Austin for our impacts to the state's highway system. Also underway is Texas Central's preparation of an overview of the final conceptual engineering report, which we call the FCE, which will be included in the final environmental impact statement, as well as county-specific alignment maps that we would like to share with you. These more detailed versions include specific proposed locations of wildlife crossings, emergency response and maintenance staging areas, and other details not previously developed. In addition to the project's design and constructability, plans addressing safety and security have progressed as well, as have Texas Central's business and workforce opportunity policy. We believe that these various plans will be of interest to you as well as to your first responders, law enforcement, your available workforce, business owners, and just local residents in general. The project's design and engineering work continues to proceed on schedule alongside regulatory and legal processes so that construction can begin as soon as possible. We at Texas Central realize that there are many questions and concerns that remain about this monumental project. And for those reasons, we will continue to seek opportunities to communicate with you and your citizens and offer information as the project moves toward final design. As always, we welcome your sincere input. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to make a comment?
I'd like to say I appreciate our new state rep. I think he's done a fantastic job.
Appreciate him being here today.
Thank you, brother.
Cody Harris and his staff. Anyone else?
Thank you, Judge. Do I come stand up here?
You can stand or sit or just whatever you want to do.
Judge and Commissioners, thank you all so much for taking the time to meet with us today. These are just little handouts, and anybody in the audience is welcome to take one of these as well, that just kind of give you a highlight of what we were able to accomplish this session. It was such an honor to be the one to represent y'all in Austin, to be your voice and your advocates, and matter of fact, sat through a 13-hour hearing, all on the high-speed rail. And would love to give you my perspective of what happened there and how things are progressing from what I've experienced. But the main things that we were able to accomplish this session, you know, myself, many others campaigned on public education finance and really bringing our state share of public education funding back up somewhere to where that 50% level we've historically been. And in doing so, we knew that we'd be able to provide some property tax relief at the local level. And I'm really proud to tell you that we came away with a really historic piece of legislation in House Bill 3 that injects billions of dollars back into public schools. And part of that is nearly $6 billion of direct property tax relief in a buy-down of local M&O tax rates. And so translate that all into what it looks like for, let's say, Fairfield ISD. And we've got the numbers for both Fairfield and TIG. Fairfield ISD is going to get just over $1 million more per year in state funds than they did last year. That's a pretty good chunk of money. We also bind down that 4 cents at the local level, which allows the property taxes that the local school districts collect to keep more of that money instead of sending that all over to the state. That's how we were able to really lower some of the property taxes. It wasn't perfect. It doesn't really address the property tax issue that we're dealing with. I know across the entire state, people are up in arms because their property taxes are still going through the roof. And so we still have that to address. And I'd love to have your input on different ideas y'all might have, ways we can solve this problem. Another big piece of legislation was the Senate Bill 2, the Taxpayer Transparency Act, which, as you all know, previously the rollback rate was set at 8%. We reduced that to 3.5%. Trigger an election. It doesn't prevent you guys from raising your revenue. It just says, tell the voters why you need more money, and if they agree with you, they'll approve it. Also puts in there for school districts and other entities that if you are proposing to raise your rate, they're on the notice that goes out, you send them where the hearing's going to be held, what the proposed rate is, what the previous rate was, what the projected tax rate increase will be. And so just really the goal was to arm local citizens and get them more engaged in the process. Instead of saying, Austin, fix my problem, we said, here's a way that you can help fix your own situation. Because Texas doesn't have a statewide property tax. It's each individual local taxing entity that has property taxes. So that's where we started with that. Border security is another huge issue that we're all very aware of. I was able to take a trip down to the Rio Grande Valley and visit with Border Patrol agents and really ask them, what is it that y'all on the ground, the ones who are doing this job, what do y'all see? What do you need? And there are several sections of wall existing down there, but you can see giant gaps in the wall where anybody can pass through back and forth. They said we need the wall to be constructed, but we need to create choke points. One of the nights that I was there, they apprehended 800 illegal immigrants in one night. And that's just in the Rio Grande Valley sector. Just one little part there in McAllen and Edinburgh. It's not the entire stretch of Texas border. 800 in one night. That's normal for these. So it's a real issue that we're having. In response to that, the state legislature passed an additional $800 million in border security funding. Unfortunately, the federal government's not doing their job. It's their job to protect us, to protect our border, to secure it. But if they're not gonna do it, we've got to step up to the plate and do that. So we passed $800 million more in border security funding. And then right after session ended, the governor announced that he's calling up an additional 1,000 troops of Texas State Guard troops to be sent down the border to aid Border Patrol in those efforts. So that's a great start. Still a lot of work to be done in securing our border. But hopefully, Texas has taken the lead in that. Hopefully, the federal government will begin to recognize that this is a real issue and we can get that solved. Those are kind of the high points. What I really enjoy doing is answering questions, having an open dialogue. I don't know if that's allowed in the rules or not, if y'all talk to me, but all right.
It is because
Would
you're
love
on the
to.
agenda, so.
Good, all right, sounds good. Is there any questions that y'all have?
I think that since we're a small county, we'll be able to take advantage of that $500,000.
Yes, ma'am, I'm at the help. Yeah, so as part of SB 2, the 3.5% rollback, part of the built-in protections for the small towns, if y'all have emergency expenses that you need to take care of, we built in a $500,000 buffer where you have the leeway to raise that if you need to without triggering the local election. On top of that, you also are able to carry forward for 3 years the difference if you stay underneath that 3.5%. So you're able to kind of bank it up over a 3-year period. That was in a direct effort to help our rural areas.
Appreciate it, all the help we can
Yes,
get.
ma'am.
That 500,000, does it, can we call it survival instead of emergency?
Sure, you can call it whatever you want. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Well, my idea on that is, I think part of when we are talking about transparency and trying to better serve our people in our county, you know, we have held our taxes as low as we could and raised them sometimes, and then when we could, we lowered them. So I think we've been very responsive to our citizens. But it forces us to think about this time, we better raise our taxes as much as we think we can because we're going to be because of what we'll be facing next year. So I know that was maybe not the intention, but I mean, realistically, we have to look at that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think y'all have been good stewards of what you've been given so far, and looking at the ability to bank the difference,
Yes.
hopefully would give you options to not have to do that.
Mhm.
And put your-
We'll be looking at it, hopefully we won't, but I know that you and I have talked about that.
Yes, ma'am.
But there are some others that are in county government that don't look at it the same
Right.
way. So we appreciate you working to get us some of these exemptions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
But another thing that's happened with us, we left our county tax, not school tax down. County tax rate's the same, the valuation goes up,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and they pay more tax.
And we get the blame for it.
Right.
That's,
Yes, ma'am. That was part of the larger discussion that we never figured out how to fix that.
How to
That ain't
fix
y'all's
that.
fault that's
Mhm.
happened.
You know, that little statement, that little tax statement that they send out to your local government's responsible for, you know, that little deal down there. And so they all think that it's us, and that we're to be school, county, city, everything. I mean, it's just normal kind of thinking.
Right.
I don't know how long it's been on that little piece of paper, but
we greatly need some assistance in mental health.
Yes, ma'am.
Our resources are very scarce.
That's a huge issue all
There are
across
no
the state,
beds.
especially for rural areas. It's a really big issue. Specifically about the issues y'all are facing here in Freestone County, I'd love to sit down and learn more about what y'all are facing. It's different here versus Navarre County versus the different counties. Each county seems to have their own little problem that they're dealing with, whether it's local county jail, housing all of the mental
We have
health
problems there,
patients.
too.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
A lot of times, rather than having a place in a facility, they end up being in jail.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So, I know Limestone County, the prior judge, he had worked effortlessly on trying to help that system, and we never really got anywhere, but we'll talk about that, but keep us in mind,
All right.
we need help
Yes,
there.
ma'am.
Cody, on the unfunded mandates.
Yes, sir.
Whatever they are, whenever they show up, that's a bad deal.
It is.
I mean, that's a bad deal.
I agree. We had a couple of different bills that basically said no unfunded mandates down to city and counties. And the governor came in and said, well, if you can define for me what an unfunded mandate is, we'll look at, he'll think about passing the bill. And so the governor's office and the bill authors kind of negotiated all session long without ever actually coming up with a solution. Now, I agree with you completely. We shouldn't, in one case, put the handcuffs on you and then say, well, but you've got to spend millions of dollars on things that may not be necessary for your little community. So I agree. That's still something that we absolutely have to work on and fix.
That's true. We had several things, the mental health resources at the jail, trying to figure out how to work that, have that work for our, for our community, and I think we're getting some equipment to get that done, but
Right.
it's gonna cost us a lot to do that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
However I can be of service, and Sheriff Shipley and I have been in contact about that. He shared his perspective with me, and I know he's doing everything he can. He's doing a great job, and my office will work with both his office and the Commissioner's Court to provide any state resources that we can to help you all with that.
Well, that certainly helps.
Yes, I do. I got another question.
Good, good.
I don't want to put no heat on you or nothing.
That's all right.
First time I've seen you speak was at the fast train deal over at Tiggs
Yes, sir.
High School. You said you were in Florida.
That's right.
How do you feel about it today?
Exact same, if not more so. There were 20 some odd bills written in the House that addressed the high-speed rail. I wrote 4 of them. And we had a 13-hour-long hearing in committee all in one day on these bills. And so we brought Texas Central in for public testimony, and myself and the other state reps who had authored similar bills were able to question them and provide the circumstances that we're seeing at the local level, the different problems that we're having. And time and again, we couldn't get a straight, honest answer. Or we could get one answer in this question and another answer in another circumstance. At the end of the day, none of those bills were allowed to get out of committee, despite several of us members doing everything we could to try to negotiate, to just let us get one bill that would help our guys out of committee. It never happened. Luckily, the court system sees it the way we see it. The high-speed rail continues to hit roadblock after roadblock in the court system. You know, in Leon County, district court over there issued a summary judgment saying Texas Central does not have the right of eminent domain. Now it's issued its final judgment, again saying it does not have the right of eminent domain. They just, I believe it was with the National Transportation Safety Board, Texas Central was petitioning the board to basically take jurisdiction over Texas Central and declare that they would be an interstate project, because Texas Central had now partnered with Amtrak, so they were trying to tie it to the federal jurisdiction. Well, just a week or 2 ago, the NTSB said, you still haven't met the requirements, we do not have jurisdiction. Well, in every circumstance, it seems to me that the high-speed rail company, when something like this, even with the final judgment from Leon County Court, they spin it in a different way than what is actually happening. Because they don't want people here to know that time and time again, the courts are ruling against them and finding that they don't have the right to eminent domain and they're not following the correct procedure. We asked them many times how they anticipated being able to start constructing a project when they cannot use state money to do that. They won't admit or won't say how much money they've raised already to begin the project. And so I highly question the statement that construction is going to begin next year. There are so many now legal roadblocks that have been put up by the courts that this is going to go on for years and years through the appeals processes and all that, I would assume. Added on top of that, mine and other state reps continued efforts to make sure that our property owners' rights are respected and protected in the next legislative session. So to answer your question, I feel the exact same as I did then.
Eminent domain is an important issue in our county. We have families that have lived here for generation after generation after generation, inherited property, and so it's pretty sacred to most of the people here. And so we want that protected. And that's our main issue.
Yes, ma'am.
Plus, you know, the issues with roads and safety and those kinds of things.
You know, they got, some companies that got a lot of money, that's sort of, you got 100 acres, I'll give you 300 over here. That ain't the 100 my granddad you supposed to know, great granddad didn't. I don't want three.
Right. They don't understand.
No more, no less.
Yeah.
And people just, I ain't got nothing against these two folks sitting here. But I don't like it at all. I mean, at all.
Yes, sir.
Just listen, you know how I feel about it. I don't think that it's right to take people property that they want to sell, force them into something. I don't see anything right about that, so I'm totally against it too, and I'm glad to hear that you're working to try to help the people in these situations.
You think about eminent domain and what the writers of the Constitution granted. When eminent domain is used, is to be used for public good, public benefit. We all benefit from the products that pipelines carry. We all benefit from the electricity that transmission lines carry. Tell me who benefits from a rail line that carries only people from Houston, College Station to Dallas and back. How do the people in Freestone County maintain an ongoing benefit, not just the purchase of the land or anything like that, but an ongoing benefit from the use of that eminent domain? My argument is they don't at all. So it does not satisfy that constitutional requirement of eminent domain.
The high-speed rail would definitely run right through, just almost to the center of my precinct. It would go from the north all the way across to 84. And sometimes the people that it directly affects are very vocal, that other people don't even know about it. So I mean, it's, I have to tell everybody about where it's going and all those kind of things. And then, all the times the different, we've got 2 or 3 different stories about where the lines are going to go. But we need all the help we can get. Yes, appreciate it.
You know, it's a concern too, to people that are not in that area, but are taxpayers. Is there going to come a time when we're all going to have to subsidize that?
Right.
It's a
That's,
question.
how is this project,
How's it going to sustain itself?
when there is no other completely privately funded high-speed rail in the world? They all the other ones receive some form of government subsidy. You look at what happened in California. 5-point-some odd billion dollars in state money that was used, and then $5.3 billion of federal money that was used to partially construct this high-speed rail. They figured out, wait, we can't, this isn't financially viable, and they abandoned the whole thing, shut it down. I think all of our fears should be that that's exactly what's going to happen in Texas if it continues to move forward.
Sheriff, is there anything you would like to add to?
I full-heartedly agree to everything he just
Or
said.
the mandates?
Oh.
Anything on that? We've had several things.
Well, I mean, the mandates, Cody's available by phone or in Austin when I go and visit every single time. We've discussed a whole lot of things from mental to unfunded mandates to the high-speed rail to, I mean, just numerous things. So, you know, none of it's any good. I mean, the unfunded mandates really, it's like a double sword to us because with manpower and then what they're making us do, it's hitting us for money, but then it's hitting our office for manpower because we're having to send them to do all these unfunded mandates and trainings that they're forcing us into doing with the amount of manpower we have. So a lot of it's an issue. We got an issue with the jail training that just changed. We got to have them signed up for training within 90 days. Heck, it's hard enough to get it done in a year. And now we're just going to have to figure out how to do it in 90 days for people that don't even stay here. It's going to be rough, and I don't know how we're going to get around it right now. Not for
You know, we had the testing thing that came up, and we were gonna have to do that, what was that on the testing, and it ended up that they, do you remember that? We thought we were gonna have to send all these things for tests, and then they ended up pulling it back because it was gonna be such a huge issue.
Yes, ma'am. I think what, if I remember it correctly, it is normally the DPS lab will test what we have. DPS was trying to cut cost and saying that now we were going to have to bear the cost of that. Luckily, because it was such an uproar amongst the counties, you know, they pulled back and they found the money in order for us to keep testing drugs the way that we do now. You know, it's probably not far-fetched to think that that could happen in the future, you know, in some instances, whether it's, I mean, you can see it now kind of with the marijuana and the hemp legislation and things like that that have kind of had everybody in a turmoil where,
How's that gonna work?
how's it going to work? And are they going to start limiting where you test felonies and not misdemeanors or certain types of felonies and this, and then that we bear the cost on testing other things? And obviously you're talking about policing the local community, and that's a big deal, and something that we have to get done. So again, kind of another unfunded mandate that luckily we're able to avoid, but something that to me is kind of, it's kind of scary that was even an option to begin with, and it makes me fearful for the future if they were willing to just kind of cut it right then. What are plans in the future? And
Not really thinking about what it was gonna do to all of us.
Right. And I'll point out too that if y'all get orders, for lack of a better word, or mandates from state agencies that come from a state agency like DPS saying that you've got to pick up the cost for something, please reach out and let me know, because that's the first I heard of. And my office can help put a little bit more pressure on those state agencies that are using their administrative authority to create new mandates that the legislators may have never even known about.
And that's what happened is we reached out to the people that were in office at that time, and they made a few phone calls, and we made a few phone calls, and it took about 2 days, and it changed back to the normal procedures. But
I appreciate it, Angela. Sometime
Yes.
when I've not been able to get in touch with you, you know, you were in session so busy, well, I could just visit with her and she'd bring the word. So,
Yes, ma'am. This is Angela Orr. She's your district director.
yes.
And Jeff Carlson is the chief of staff. Jeff is based in Austin, and Angela is based out of Hillsborough.
We appreciate y'all being accessible.
Thank you.
Really do.
Cody, in the 85th legislation session, they had forgotten to add in a retirement for some of the DAs, so then they brought that to us, and so we had to add it in. And I thought they were gonna fix that this one so that now they get their stuff from the state, not us, but I hadn't heard that got fixed, and I asked that question, and never got a response.
Okay, I'm not sure, we'll check into that and find out exactly what.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you, and always welcome your input and your comment, your advice, and guidance. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We're gonna take a short break, 10-minute break.
It'll be correct.